The wind has teeth. Alara feels them gnawing at the thin hide cloak pulled tight around her shoulders, a useless shield against the killing cold. Frost clings to her eyelashes, each blink a tiny, cracking effort. Below her, the three hunters of her party move like ghosts through the sparse, skeletal trees, their dark hair and lean bodies dusted with a fine powder of snow. They are Homo sapiens, long of limb and sharp of mind. But this early, savage winter does not care. It bleeds the warmth from them with an indifferent patience. For 3 days, they have tracked the mammoth, a walking mountain of meat and fat that promised survival. Now, the tracks are gone, buried under the fresh snow. Their own survival skills, honed over generations of this punishing prehistoric life, are failing them. All they have is the cold, and the weapon that makes them who they are. Alara shifts the weight of the spear thrower in her hand. The atlatl. It is a simple thing, a length of carved wood with a spur at the end. Yet it is the soul of their people. It is an extension of the arm, a piece of primitive technology that turns a thrown spear from a desperate lunge into a deadly, silent missile. It allows them, these fragile early humans, to kill from a distance, to touch death to creatures 10 times their weight without feeling the hot spray of their blood. But the weapon is useless if there's nothing to hunt. Terran, the youngest, stumbles, his face pale with exhaustion. He will be the first to fall if they do not find food and shelter soon. Then a new scent cuts through the frozen air. It is not the musk of living mammoth. It is the rich, heavy smell of butchered meat, and beneath it, something else: smoke. Hope is a dangerous, painful thing. Alara signals a halt with a single, fluid gesture. They creep forward, moving from the cover of one frozen boulder to the next. The landscape opens into a wide, shallow basin. In its center lies their prize. The mammoth is dead, its colossal body a dark continent of promised life against the white snow. But they are not the ones who brought it down. Around the carcass move at least half a dozen figures. They are not her people. They are broader, thicker, impossibly powerful in their movements. Their heavy brows are shadowed, their faces wide and impassive as they work with heavy, stone-headed axes, hacking away huge slabs of red meat. Each one is wrapped in a masterpiece of thick, pale fur, stitched together with a skill Alara cannot comprehend. They move with an economy of motion, a silent, focused purpose that is both intimidating and strangely familiar. They are the others, the ones whispered about in stories around the fire. The men who are not quite men. Alari's party freezes, hidden behind the rocks. The others have the food, they have the warmth, and their heavy spears resting against the mammoth's flank. A direct confrontation would be suicide, but to turn back into the wind is also a death sentence. If you have ever faced a choice where every path seems to lead to the grave, then you can feel the ice forming in Alara's gut. Stand with her in this silent moment, and see which is stronger, the fear of the unknown, or the will to live. Terran silently notches a spear onto his atlatl, his knuckles white. Alara places a hand on his arm, a gentle pressure that says wait. Her mind races, weighing the power of their ranged weapons against the brute strength and superior position of the others. The old way, the only way she has ever known, is violence. But looking at the silent, organized clan across the snow, a new and terrifying thought begins to form. Her hand tightens on Taran's arm, a silent, absolute command. To attack is to die. She can see it in the solid, unyielding way the others stand, in the sheer mass of muscle that ripples under their heavy coats as they carve the mammoth. They are built for this cold, for this world of brutal, close-quarters power. Her people are not. They are built to think their way around a problem, to kill with the mind before the hand. The wind slices at her face, and in its bite, the choice becomes clear. They do not have the strength to take what they need, so they will ask. But there is no word for ask between their two kinds of humanity. There is only the language of survival. Alara steps out from behind the rocks. Terran lets out a sharp and drawn breath, a sound of protest swallowed by the wind. The other hunters freeze, their bodies coiled springs of tension. Across the basin, the work on the mammoth stops. The heavy-set figures turn as one, their movements slow, deliberate, and without panic. They lift their massive spears, not to a throwing posture, but to a defensive wall, or sharpened stone and fire-hardened wood. Their leader, a great bull of a man with a thick, graying beard, takes a half-step forward. He is a creature of immense presence. This is Neanderthal, the reality of the fireside stories made flesh. He watches Alara, his deep-set eyes missing nothing. Alara lets the atlatl hang loosely in her hand, a gesture of non-aggression. She walks forward 10 paces into the open snow, then stops, planting her feet. The distance is still great, 100 paces or more, too far for their spears, but not for hers. This is the moment. She turns her body, not toward the Neanderthals, but toward a towering pinnacle of river ice that juts from the frozen landscape to her right, in a single, fluid motion that is as much a part of her as breathing. She fits a spear to the atlatl spur, swings her arm, and unleashes the weapon. There is no grunt of effort, only a sharp whip-crack sound as the lever action magnifies her strength a dozen times over. The spear becomes a blur, a streak of darkness against the white. It crosses the distance in the space of a heartbeat and strikes the ice tower halfway up. The impact is shockingly loud in the silence. The flint head punches deep, and a web of cracks explodes across the surface before a huge chunk of ice. She as often crashes to the ground. It is a statement, not a threat. This is our power. This is what we can do from a place you cannot reach. The Neanderthal leader does not startle. His eyes track from the shattered ice back to Alara. He understands the message. For a long moment, there is only the sound of the wind. Then he turns to one of his own, a female wrapped in the hide of a great cave bear. He gestures to her coat. She turns, displaying the intricate, overlapping seams, the way the hood is shaped to protect the face, the sheer thickness of the pelts. He then pulls at the collar of his own magnificent wolf fur cloak, holding it open for a moment to reveal the steam rising from his own body into the frigid air. The gesture is as clear as her own. This is the warmth that lets us live where you would freeze. A tense, silent conversation hangs in the air between them, a landmark negotiation in the long, slow dawn of hominid history. Alara points to the atlatl in her hand. She holds up 3 fingers, then, slowly, she points to the coats the Neanderthals wear. The Neanderthal leader watches her, his expression unreadable, a stone mask carved by glaciers. He considers the offer. His people are strong, but the hunt is always a risk. He has seen men gored by aurochs, trampled by woolly rhinos. The idea of killing from beyond the reach of Hominid hoof is a revolutionary concept, a shift in the brutal mathematics of survival. His gaze flicks to the shattered ice, then back to the 3 slender figures huddled behind Alara, their bodies trembling visibly in the cold behind Alara. He sees their weakness, but also the deadly promise of their technology. He gives a short, guttural grunt and gestures with his chin, summoning 2 of his hunters. He speaks to them in a low, rumbling language that is absorbed by the snow. A sound like stones grinding together. They listen, nod, and then begin to unlace the bindings on their heavy outer cloaks. Alara's heart hammers against her ribs. She does not move. Terran and the other hunter remain behind her, spears ready but held low. This is the most dangerous moment. A gesture misunderstood, a sudden movement, could turn this fragile truce into a slaughter. The 2 Neanderthals shrug off their coats and lay them carefully on the snow. They are made from the pelts of dire wolves, stitched with sinew so finely it is nearly invisible, even from this distance. Alara can see the quality, the generations of knowledge contained in each seam. They are more than coats, they are portable shelters. The difference between life and a frozen death. The 2 hunters back away, rejoining their leader, their massively muscled torsos steaming in the frigid air, seemingly indifferent to the cold that would kill Alara's kind in minutes. It is Alara's turn. She unstraps the spare atlatl from her back and tearns. She holds up the 3 spear throwers, displaying them clearly, then she walks forward and places them on the snow. A respectful distance from the offered coats, she includes a bundle of 6 flint-tipped spears, a show of good faith. The goods lie between them, a small island of potential in a sea of snow and mistrust. This exchange is a pivotal moment, a flicker of light in the vast darkness of prehistory, a subject worthy of future anthropology. But for now, just a desperate gamble by 2 groups of human ancestors. She retreats to her original position. The Neanderthal leader nods once. He and his 2 hunters walk forward. They do not rush. They pick up the atlatl and the spears, examining them with an intense, focused curiosity. The leader tests the weight of a spear thrower, mimicking Alara's motion with a clumsy but powerful movement. He grunts again, a sound of grudging approval. Alara, in turn, signals for Terran to come forward. He moves cautiously, his eyes locked on the Neanderthals, and retrieves the 3 coats. They are heavier than he expected, rich with the scent of wood smoke and animal fat. They bring them back, and the Sapiens hunters waste no time, shrugging the immense, warm furs over their thin hides. The relief is immediate, a wave of life-giving warmth that pushes back the gnawing cold. For the first time in days, the trembling stops. They have survived, the deal is done. Without a backward glance, the Neanderthals turn and resume their work on the mammoth carcass. The interaction is over. The 2 clans withdraw, 2 separate streams of humanity parting ways, but no longer strangers. The warmth of the Neanderthal coats is more than just physical. It is the warmth of a new idea that a stranger does not have to be an enemy. As Alara's party travels back toward their own territory, they carry not just the means to survive this winter, but the seed of a concept that will change the course of human evolution. Trade, the radical notion that what one group has can be exchanged for what another group needs, creating a bond stronger than kinship and a network that can span mountains and millennia. This single, silent transaction in the snow is the first fragile stitch in the vast, complex tapestry of commerce and culture that will one day define our species. It proves that intelligence is not a monolith. The Neanderthals' practical mastery of their environment and the Sapiens' conceptual leap into making out different but equally valid forms of genius. Their encounter was not a clash of alpha predators but a meeting of minds, a recognition that the world is a dangerous enough place without making enemies of those who are merely different. The question that echoes down from this frozen basin is not who was stronger, but what could have been built if more spears had been laid on the ground, and more coats offered in their place. Our greatest tool was never the sharpened stone, but the outstretched hand. But what currency is born when trust is broken?